Hi, I'm Erik Andrus, and this is Bound Brook Farm, and here we do duck rice integrated farming, which is inspired by the work of Taco Furuno and a contingent of alternative rice farmers in Japan. And in this first clip, we're going to begin with germinating and planting the seeds that come from last year's rice crop, going through to raising seedlings in a nursery, and tilling the rice fields and preparing them for planting. These are the 230 flats of the first planting variety. We planted one variety before the other because it has slightly longer maturation time. These are Oborozuki, and it's a Hokkaido variety. The second one, the Nanatsuboshi, is soaking, and that one will start getting planted tomorrow. I grow Hokkaido varieties because Hokkaido has a very analogous climate to Vermont. So all of these have been sitting for 5 days now in the workshop, all stacked up like this, and they're beginning to sprout. So now is the moment to make a move for them. Each one of these trays has the potential, once it's planted out to the field, to be 50 to 100 pounds of rice. We save last year's rice grain to replant again, keep the cycle moving along. So in addition to having to make enough rice to be able to sell to people to eat, we also have to conserve enough seed to be able to grow the following year. So these are the same flats that we set out last week, and the majority of the seedlings are just germinating now. This was just an intermediate step that allowed them to be protected from frost while the patty nursery was being finished up. And we did have a hard frost last night. Went down to 27 degrees. So I had several layers of covers over the top, and there wasn't any damage, so the system worked. Out in the nursery patty, we're setting these into basically a 1/4 inch of standing water. So from here on out, the flats will be watered from the bottom up. Each row will be covered with low hoops, covered with a single layer of lighter gauge ag fabric. And that allows plenty of sunlight penetration, but also creates a little bit of a thermal buffer and keeps the birds off of the flats. At this stage, the birds are crazy about going after these flats and digging up the seeds. So I have to keep them covered at all times. So this is the first Hokkaido variety, and this one we started germinating a week earlier than the second, and the tallest shoots are around 1 inch tall, and there's plenty more that are still emerging. This flat here is from the second set of tunnels, and you can see that the plants are just coming up, but they're really coming up gangbusters. The nursery period is kind of challenging because you really want to manage the temperature. The seeds will grow in cooler temperatures, like down into the 50s. But if you have a sustained cold spell, they won't progress or grow, and sooner or later, molds will come along and attack the starch. That's the fuel source for the seeds. So here is a little temperature probe that goes down, and at the end of it is stuck in the soil of the rice flat, so that I can monitor wirelessly from the house what the temperature conditions are in the rice trays. The nursery paddy has the ability to have its irrigation water warmed with a wood fire. So I have a wood stove that can warm the reservoir pond that irrigates the nursery paddy. This stove is what's called a snorkel stove, and it's made in Washington by a company that makes them for hot tub heaters. It's a nice layer of insurance to be able to use wood to offset severe temperatures during the nursery phase. That's what this is all about. Today I'm going to be using this tractor and rototiller arrangement, which is really common in Japanese rice farming. It's a four-wheel drive, 34 horsepower tractor that is fitted out with a Japanese rice paddy rototiller and Japanese rice paddy cage wheels. When I last went to Japan, my Japanese rice farmer colleagues were quick to point out, you're not doing a good enough job of tillage. And they explained to me that that impacts how well the whole season works and how well the duck rice method works. The rototiller first, what makes it different is the tillage chamber that the blades spin in is nicely rounded so that it's pushing that liquid. It's meant kind of to work a liquid mixture. It also has these little flaps that I can control from the driver's seat, flipping over and back again, and they help extend the leveling effect by making kind of a wave. And it's spring-loaded so that it has a nice little bit of pressure and kind of gives everything a very nice finish. And these are the cage wheels. I bought them on the used equipment market in Japan, and they were shipped over with everything else in a shipping container. And we had to fabricate a hub adapter, and they have a quick release, well, relatively quick mechanism so that they can be dismounted. They're very poor on land, so we've gotten in the habit of removing them down here in the field anytime the tractor has to go and do other work. Because they support the tractor, they help the rototiller ride more level and not bounce up and down every time the wheels fall into a rut. But the paddles are also like rototillers themselves, because you make a great big puddle out of the mud and the water, stir it all up and make it uniform, and through the magic of hydraulics, the sloppy, muddy mixture finds a level. And really what you need in order to be able to grow rice well is a very, very uniform level throughout the field.